Okay, good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm a teacher here in Trinidad at a primary school. When the COVID-19 first hit, it was very difficult for me personally because I was just weeks away from my kids sitting the SCA exam. And this brought up major issues in terms of getting my children to keep working, how to stay connected with them in a manner that was easy for them to understand and yet still give them the same quality of work that they were receiving at school. What I did do, I had to do a lot of research online, a lot of videos, and a lot of tutorials to try and get my school's system up and running, because this is something that hit not just our school, but the entire country. And we were basically on our own trying to get something done for our children. So I just have a short PowerPoint presentation on how I was able to get my school connected and online with the help of TTNIC and Mr. Patrick Hossain. So I'll just go straight to the presentation now and share my screen with you. All right, so the presentation is basically how to get your school online in Trinidad and Tobago. This is just my basic introduction, and I'd like to thank Mr. Patrick Hossain and Mr. Dale Dolly for their assistance in getting our school up and running online. The process that we took was basically in 3 stages: acquiring a domain name for our school, which would assist us in setting up a website, and then applying for G Suite for Education. The first attempt at getting online would have basically been finding a fast way to send notices and information out to our parents, which generally took the form of creating social media sites for our school, knowing that most of our parents were already on Facebook or on Instagram, including some of the children. We thought that this would be the most convenient and easiest way to communicate with the large population at school. So we suggest for schools that are now starting off to get online, creating a social media page would be a good start to that, right? After creating our social media site, we looked for something more concrete and a platform that will allow us to put our work and our notes on and allow us to communicate visually and live with our children. This proved a bit difficult because we needed something that was affordable. Being under financial constraints at that point in time, we were generally looking for something that was free and of no cost to our students or to the school. While searching online, I came across the Trinidad and Tobago Network Information Center, and they manage the registration of domain names. And we saw that the edu.tt domain was being hosted and managed for free. So this was the first step we needed to take, was to reach out to TTNIC and figure out how to acquire a domain name. So what we did do, we visited www.edu.tt and we clicked on the search bar. And this was basically me trying to find a name to use for the school that was already not in use by another school. So suggested ways of getting your domain name would be to use the initials of your school, lvrc.edu.tt, or you can use the full name of your school. Since this was the first time for me, I used the full name of my school, which was quite long. And I realized later down in the process that when I created email addresses for our teachers and students, such a long domain name made the email addresses quite long and tiresome. But eventually, once everyone got accustomed to it, it was second nature, right? Once we realized that the name that we want is not in use by another school, we went back to the website and we tried to register the name. to complete the registration process, what we needed was a letter of authorization from my principal informing TTNIC that I did have the required authorization to apply on behalf of my school. And once that was done and we received approval, the domain name was ours to use. And having this domain name now prepared us to move into the next step of actually creating a website for our school where we could showcase events that happen at our school, achievements at our school, maybe expected behaviors and things we look for in our students. So creating the website was a major part of getting into the G Suite for Education as well. So I found that Google had a Google Sites where they assisted you in creating a website quite simply. And there were lots of YouTube tutorials on how to do it on the Google Sites. So this was the most simple that I could find, not being very tech savvy at that point in time and being constrained for time to get things going. I used the Google Sites and it helped me to create my school webpage. And I also posted one of the YouTube videos that I used to assist me in using this page. Moving right along, when you get into the Google Sites to create your school website, and you think you have the look that you want and the layout that you want, we suggest that you preview this website before you publish it, because I learned the hard way that your website looks different on different devices. So your websites look on a desktop as compared to a cell phone is quite different. And the preview option helps you to see how your website will look on all devices so that you can adjust your layout. Once you like the layout and you've previewed it, you're going to publish your website. And this is where your domain name that you received from TTNIC becomes important. Your domain name now needs to be linked to the website that you created on Google Sites. Again, I had to do a lot of YouTube searching to see how to do this exactly. And I did link one of those videos there to assist other schools in figuring out how to attach their domain name to the website they just created. Once we have attached our domain name, we now need to do a Google console search where we are actually going to see if this domain name is in use anywhere in the world. And they are going to require that we have access to use this domain name. So Google is going to ask us to verify ownership of this domain name, and then it becomes quite important to go back to TTNIC once again, or our domain host, to ask for their assistance in this verification process. So for me, it was a lot of back and forth, and I must say without Mr. Hussain, I would not have gotten through it because I was not familiar with the jargon, very confused by all of the information coming at me. So creating this step-by-step tutorial to help other schools to get online became necessary. So here we can see we went back to TTNIC to assist us in getting verified with Google our domain name. So once we send that email off, they will attach the DNS records to our domain name. And once the records have been added, we once again go back to Google Search Console to verify it, to try and verify it again. We then go back to our Google site where we created our school's website, and we open up our school's website. And there's another tutorial that I have attached here that I found where we're now going to attach that confirmed domain name to our website. And it's basically going into the settings and the custom URL and attaching the www dot in front of our domain name, right? Moving right along, again, once this has been done, we go back to our domain host And we require their assistance again because they're going to ask us, once we're using this www dot at the front, that we create a CNAME entry. I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly because I'm not very familiar. And I sent this email off, and Mr. Hussain was quite helpful in creating whatever entries I needed on my domain name to get our website up and running. So the instructions are here, the exact email that you're going to send to them, and what you're going to require them to assist you with. Once the TTNIC emails us confirming that our request has been done, we go back into the browser and we type in our school's new web address, which now includes the www dot in front of the domain name. Once that is done, you're checking to see that your website can be found by others who are making a search for your school. If it doesn't come up immediately when you conduct that search, you can give it a couple days to actually happen, and then you can try again. Right, so once your website has been set up and your domain name is officially assigned to your website, this is where we can now apply for the G Suite for Education. G Suite for Education was a choice for us because it allowed us to have the Google Classroom used for all of our students in school for free, as well as the other applications that came with it. Like we would have had access now to Google Meet, which allowed us to have the face-to-face classes. We would have had Jamboard, where we could actually write on a whiteboard and share our thoughts and lessons with the kids directly. So the G Suite for Education was a host of applications that came together to provide us with that virtual classroom for free. Even though it took many steps to get to the G Suite for Education, it was worth it for us. And we thank all the people who helped us along the way. So this is the link that takes you to the application for the G Suite for Education. And once you click on that link, you now begin the application process, where we type in the school's name and the web address of the website we just created, the number of students that our school has, and the type of school that we are. We suggest using your personal email address when applying for the G Suite for Education, if you are a normal teacher from that school applying on behalf of your school. You can use the school's email address, but only if you have access to it, because they're going to send emails to you trying to get you to forward information and do things, and you would need to have access to those emails as they come in, so that you can get the process flowing as quickly as possible. They're going to ask if you have a domain name already. You're going to click yes and say, I have one that I can use. You put in your name as an applicant on behalf of your school, and you create your sign-in information as the admin for that G Suite. Even though you may start off being the admin because you're the one doing the application, eventually as you go along, the admin can be changed. Once your application is complete, you then receive a free 14-day trial period. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this has seriously slowed down the processing of the applications, because many schools across the world have been trying to access the G Suite program for free for their schools. So that process may take longer than expected to get approved. You may need assistance again, because Google is going to ask you to verify your domain once again. So you will need the assistance of admin at nic.tt, which is TTNIC, to verify your domain. Google will send you the email instructions and the codes and records, etc., that you need to place on your domain name so that they can verify it. So you will get the steps and instructions on how to verify that domain with Google. This is a sample of the email I received from Google requesting information to complete the process of my application. which was a bit tricky for me because they were asking for the institution's official accreditation document stating the educational status, as well as an official document stating the non-profit status. Now, being at home and not having access to the ministry and everything is in chaos at this point because of the COVID-19, it was very difficult to figure out, where am I going to get this document? Is this a document the school already has on file? Is this a document I can go into the ministry to receive, to apply for? How long is it going to take me to get it? Luckily, I got in contact with another teacher at Trinity College, Mocha, and I was discussing the issue with him. And he advised me that there was an official listing of schools in Trinidad and Tobago online. And what I could have done was locate the name of my school on that listing, screenshot it as proof that we are an accredited school in Trinidad and Tobago, and then attach the ministry's official listing as proof of that in my email to Google, which is what I did. I did locate it. There's a primary school link and a secondary school link where you can locate your school on this list, take a screenshot of it, and this official link is a proof to Google that you are an accredited school in Trinidad and Tobago, because we can see that this link is .gov.tt. So it's enough proof for them to accept you as an accredited school of Trinidad and Tobago. Once I supplied Google with all of the information they required, they did email me back to say my application was approved, but again, they needed to confirm that I was authorized to make this application on behalf of my school. So they would have also required to get my principal's email address, and they would have emailed to find out if I did have the authorization necessary to make this application. And once they had confirmed with my principal that I was authorized to do so, the approval went through and we were able to access the G Suite for Education. Receiving this program for free took a load off, and it was very good for the school, even though it was the start of more research and more learning as a teacher, because we now had to learn how to use this for the benefit of our school. But with the excess of information on the internet, in terms of, if you're a visual learner and you need videos, you can find anything online basically, as well as many tutorials that you can read to assist you in setting up your G Suite for Education. The best thing that came out of it was that each child attending our school was assigned an email address. We created an email address for them, as well as teachers. These email addresses were used to access the Google Classroom. Only our children with those email addresses attached to our domain could access our classroom. So it did provide us with some sense of security in terms of knowing who's coming into our classrooms and accessing the information being provided there. I was asked by Mr. Hossain if I would have been willing to put my entire process that I went through on his website, so that other teachers and schools looking to do the same would have the information there rather than running around trying to do it on their own, which is what I did. And I really would like to thank everyone that assisted me in getting our school online during the COVID-19 pandemic, and especially helping my SEA class to reach that exam point. So I would like to thank Mr. Patrick and Mr. Dale Dolly, and to those who assisted me in preparing this PowerPoint presentation as well. I am really grateful, because apart from teaching, doing presentations for your class and anything outside of that does take a lot of time. So this was a big help to me. And I really appreciate the invitation to present today in this forum. So thank you very much.
All right, so I think it's up to me. So